Ekiti-State is a land that is rich in palace monuments. Every community in Ekiti preserves their old palaces. This is not just because of the need to avail the future generations the opportunity to have something that could be referred to as evidence of earlier civilization, but because each chamber in the palace of an Oba in those days has a significance in the history, culture, and the royal tradition. In Ekiti-State, most traditional rulers are doing well in preserving their old palaces, even though some have built new palaces, and in some towns the construction of some new palaces are still ongoing. Some of the towns where their old palaces are commendably preserved include the palaces of Olojudo, Ore, Elemure, Arinjale, Ewi, Alara, Ajero, Oloye. In fact, almost all the royalties in Ekiti-State make committed effort towards preserving their historical heritages. The old palace of Olojudo is a royal heritage that tells much about the traditional architecture and a surviving testimony of local civilization. Judging by the number of rooms it contains, the palace of Olojudo is nonetheless what government houses are these days. The first-story building in the whole of the old Ekiti province is still in the palace of Olojudo, standing as a monumental relic of an ancient aristocracy. The vestiges of Olojudo's Hudson car are still very much at the back of the Olojudo's palace yard inside the palace of Olojudo. Ajero is one of the most popular royalties in the entire Yoruba nation. In fact, there is no palace of a Yoruba king that the name Ajero is not mentioned in daily prayer to Olodumare, because the Ajero, like Alara and Orogun, his royal siblings, is synonymous with overall goodness in everything a man will wish for in his life. The Ajero's palace is also an enviable citadel of culture. It exhibits traditional skill in civil engineering and architectural designs. Even though some parts of the palace building had collapsed due to pressure of age, yet the old palace of Ajero still stands out as potential tourist delight. The palace of Owa Ajero is made up of several compartments which have their historical significance to the Ajero royal stool and by extension the Ajero kingdom. One of the unique cultural landmarks within the palace is the small palace of the most traditionally recognized royal wife, Abokwaye. The Abokwaye's palace shows the primacy of one woman among other wives of the Ajero, as recognized by the Ajero culture itself. The royal graveyard and the Abokwaye's court are important historical places that could be of value if developed further. The royal grave shows the number of Ajero that have reigned in the Ajero kingdom to date, and the stones on each of the graves are said to indicate the number of years each of them spent on the throne. The palace of Ajero is today a reference point in interreligious forbearance. Standing adjacent to each other are two worship places. One is a church for the worship of Christ, and the other a shrine for the worship of Eshu, an equivalence of the biblical Satan.
There are other shrines across the fence. I will still take with them. But this is the issue. Fine.
The Old Palace of Alara of Aramoko is another potential tourist destination in Ekiti-State. The palace has several chambers, one of which the king himself is forbidden from entering. There is need to be a particular room which a king can enter only once in his lifetime. The old palace has survived years of use and it still stands out. The structural design and the expanse of land the palace cover are a vivid testimony to the fact that Alara has always been one of the traditional frontrunners among other Yoruba Obas in Nigeria. The Palace of Ewi in Ado-Ekiti is one palace that offers a wide range of spectacle. This is attributable to the maintenance culture that has kept the old palaces of the Ewi standing as a monumental evidence of ancient civilization. There are many palaces in the entire yard. This attests to the plausibility of the fact that some previous Obas built new palaces on accession to the throne. The fact that the old palace structures are still standing strong and some of them are still being used during some traditional ceremonies explain the importance each reigning Ewi attaches to preservation of the heritage of his predecessor and the level of reference of the people of Ado-Ekiti to the royal heritage and tradition. The palace of the Ewi Anirare Oba Daniel Aladesomi, built several years ago, was renovated by the present Ewi Oba Dr. Rufus Adeyemo Adejugbe Aladesomi III. The Ponta car, purchased around 1936 and used by Ewi Anirare, has been refurbished and is being used by the present Ewi as part of the memories of his ancestor. All around the royal palaces across the state are monumental vestiges of civilized existence and royal luxury. All these are potential tourist attractions that could translate to wealth for the benefit of Ekiti people if preserved. Local government councils and community unions should collaborate to preserve the Ekiti heritages and monuments. This is one way to share in the tourism vision of the Dr. Kaode Fayemi administration to make Ekiti a vibrant tourism destination.